This is Taurus, the concept that has evolved from the work of these teams of scientists and engineers. They believe the huge space colony could be built before the year 2000. Constructed almost entirely from ore mined on the moon, the Taurus colony would become home for 10,000 people.
Ideas of creating colonies outside of planet Earth have been around for a long time. The problem of water, air and shelter looks already solved. In fact, nothing looks inviting out there. There is a private company, SpaceX, which is pursuing this idea in practical terms. Here, rockets are being assembled for the transport. The founder of SpaceX, Elon Musk, is not just a dreamer. He made his fortune with PayPal. He's building Tesla electric cars and is now constructing the largest factory for batteries on this planet. After setbacks, he's now successfully launching rockets.
For the first time in the history of Earth, in 4.5 billion years, the window of possibility has opened for us to extend life to another planet. To the best of our knowledge, life exists only on Earth. I mean, there's a good argument that it exists elsewhere, but we've seen no sign of it. I think it's important for us to take advantage of that window while it is open and to establish life on another planet in the solar system, just in case something goes wrong with Earth. There could be either a natural or a man-made disaster that knocks the technology level below that which is where it is possible to travel to another planet. The key to establishing a self-sustaining Mars civilization is getting the cost per unit mass low enough that there's an intersection of sets. The set of people that wish to move to Mars and the set of people that can afford to move to Mars, inclusive of government aid. I mean, right now, we can't even get one person to Mars. So clearly...
I would come along. I wouldn't have a problem. One-way ticket.
That sounds great.
I'd be your candidate.
Okay. But I do think we'll want to offer round trips because a lot more people will be willing to go if they think that if they don't like it, they can come back.
But how would we talk to them who chose to stay? Who would tell them the outcome of the World Series?
Mars is actually a comparatively easy internet thing to establish, at least for local internet, because you wouldn't be living everywhere on Mars. So you'd really just need maybe 4 satellites to have global coverage global internet coverage because of how sparse the civilization will be on Mars. And then some relay satellites to get back to Earth. Particularly when Mars is on the other side of the sun, you'd need to sort of bounce it off a relay satellite. You couldn't communicate directly with it.
The skyline of Chicago. It looks devoid of its inhabitants. We have to assume that nearly everyone has left for a colony out there.
Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your memory stray to a bright...
The planetarium is the only point of contact. Inside, a monument for those who have levitated and left. Yes, things must be real good out there.
Do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare?
But then we met some stragglers left behind. They're all on their smartphones. Have the monks stopped meditating? Have they stopped praying? They all seem to be tweeting.
Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight?
How could we communicate with the stars out there that potentially have life?
Well, we can think of creating a kind of long-range internet, either through the use of radio waves or perhaps visible light. So these would be the kinds of signals that we could generate in the case of lower energy signals like radio waves relatively cheaply. And we could broadcast, if we came up with a suitable code, some way of transmitting information over galactic and intergalactic distances.
But we would get an answer back in 800,000 years, maybe, or 2.5 million years.
Well, I think that the more one looks for planets in the universe beyond our solar system that are potentially places that might be hospitable to life, the more you appreciate the wonderful planet that we have here that allows us to do things like swim in an ocean, breathe the air without the help of our technology. And so, while I would like us to explore Mars more, I think the only thing that we've demonstrated is that we're very good at destroying the habitability of Earth rather than improving the habitability of a completely alien world. The idea that Mars will somehow save us from the decisions we've made here is a false one. And it's a little like saying that you're going to go live in the lifeboat when, even lifeboats need somewhere to land.
I don't think I have good dreams, honestly. Oh, I'm sure I have good dreams sometimes, but I don't seem to remember the good dreams. The ones that I remember are the nightmares.
The Prussian war theoretician Clausewitz, Napoleonic times, once famously said, "Sometimes war dreams of itself." Could it be that the internet starts to dream of itself?
Great question. To think about dreaming, there may be two aspects. One is what I'll call awareness. When you wake up and you say, oh, I was just dreaming this, and you know it. Another aspect is just some kind of pattern of activity that emerges, not because of some external stimuli, but just because of something going on in unpredictable patterns. I think already the internet has the second of those, has unpredictable patterns all the time that cause things like flash crashes on the financial markets. So we have plenty of kind of currents running around in the internet that are unpredictable, in some cases unstoppable.
Imaginative.
Now it comes to what do we mean by imaginative? But if we call a person imaginative if they come up with ideas that we didn't think of and that we nevertheless admire. Usually admiration is part of it. So for the internet, so far, I think it's mostly just unpredictable. I haven't seen anything the internet did on its own that I admire yet.
Does the internet dream of itself? It does in the sense that it can beget additional networks layered on top of it that have the characteristics of the underlying internet. So just as the basic internet is a series of computers that happen to talk internet to each other so that you can move a bit from here to there, there's a fellow named Sir Tim Berners-Lee who could conceive of something called the World Wide Web and choose not to copyright it, not to patent it, to allow anybody to speak server and some people speak client, and then before you know it, you've got websites. The web is the internet dreaming of itself.
Could it be that the internet dreams of itself? It's a fascinating idea. In fact, there was a wonderful science fiction story which later got turned into a movie, Blade Runner, and I think it was called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The robots dream. But the internet is nothing but connections. Will it have its own consciousness? Will it have its own set of rules? And perhaps in an even more scary realm, from the science fiction realm, will the internet therefore make its own decisions? And will the decisions about how communication happens go out of human hands? That's certainly a possibility. But since we don't even understand consciousness, I am hesitant to make any predictions. And I think anyone who claims they know what's going to happen to the internet is not worth listening to.